Hello everybody and welcome to a special mini edition of the Minecraft Disney Q&A. It's mini because this week is the Christmas holiday and so I'm away and not able to make the videos as long as they usually are, but I wanted to make a video anyway. Anyway, let's jump in and answer some questions while we watch some holiday wishes here on the Magic Kingdom. Our first question this week comes from B Fish Alex Imagineering, who says, "Hey Rob, how would you feel about, I know this is not going to happen, a walkthrough area of San Fransokyo from Big Hero 6 with potentially some attractions where Backlot Studio Tour was? Also, I heard that the Great Movie Rides End Film and Q Film are being adjusted. So what are your thoughts on that? Personally, I'm not a fan of the idea because I feel that they had an amazing compilation of classic, timeless films for both, but I trust WDI team to make something great. Thanks and have a magical day." So first bit, I agree, probably not going to happen. Big Hero 6, I think, was a fantastic film. I don't think it was financially successful. It was no Frozen, let's just say, in terms of box office. So I don't think it's going to be the kind of thing that is going to take up that much space. But you know, it would be a really cool place to put it in Hollywood Studios. What if the backdrop of San Francisco over by like the fake New York facades, what if you put San Fransokyo there, just like a little San Fransokyo backdrop that you could take photos with? I think that'd be pretty cool. As for your second question, I'm actually a big fan of this idea of refurbing Great Movie Ride. I mean, I hope they do some stuff to the ride itself, but even if all they do is the beginning and end videos, I think that would be cool on its own. I think there are a lot of cool classic movies in there, but I also think there's a lot of stuff that shouldn't be. You have to remember, Michael Eisner was big on cross-promotion and synergy and mixing these things up to you know, back one thing to the other. And that's why, you know, you'll have classics in there like Star Wars and Indiana Jones, which makes sense. And then you'll have like Two Men and a Baby, or what is it, Three Men and a Baby, or, you know, it was a movie that at the time of the park opening, they wanted to promote it, so they'd throw it in there. So I do think that there is room for a new montage, and I'm sort of excited to see what they come up with. Our next question comes from Colby Wooldridge, who asks, if you could change one land in the Magic Kingdom, what would it be and why, and what would you replace it with? Thanks and have a magical day. This one's tough because there's no land that I particularly dislike, so I guess it's the one that I like the least, and I think for me that would be Frontierland. But again, that's tough. I mean, you're asking. That's a hard question because I love them all. I guess I love that one less than I love the other ones. And my new go-to answer for what would I put in any of these parks is a land based on the cartoons of Miyazaki. I think they're beautiful worlds. I think those are beautiful movies, and I think it'd be cool to see, you know, a land inspired by, you know, Totoro and Spirited Away and movies like that. Our next question comes from Copycat705, who says, "Merry Christmas. I figured it's been a while since you've talked about Avatar Land, so here's a question for the next Q&A. The e-ticket ride for Pandora is a Banshee flying simulator, which will kind of be much like a much upgraded version of Soarin', and the other attraction will be a C to D ticket boat ride through the land. What are your thoughts on the choice of rides?" P.S. There was also going to be a coaster that made use of the terrain, but that was unfortunately scrapped from the plans. So my answer for this, and I need to preface this and say, I don't work for Disney. I don't know any of Disney's plans. I do know people who work at Disney, but they don't know this stuff themselves, and nor would they probably ever tell me. So when I say what I'm about to say, it is 100% pure guessing. But my guess is they had these plans for years for doing this Pandora ever since Avatar was big. And then eventually they acquired Lucasfilm, and they've got this Star Wars behemoth coming out next year. And I think it may be in the back of their minds, they're thinking they don't need Avatar Land as badly as they thought they originally did. And so maybe these plans, like a roller coaster, are getting scrapped. Maybe they're just sort of, you know, pulling back the throttle on Avatar Land a bit because they know they've got Marvel and they've got Star Wars and they don't really need it. They've got Frozen now. So I think Avatar Land's just less critical to their, you know, long-term strategy as it was. Again, I don't know. That's a total guess, but, you know, that would be my guess. Our next question comes from Commander 12, who asks, I have two questions. Have you ever gotten stuck on a ride at Disney where they had to evacuate because of rain or something? Also, do you think the name Magic Kingdom is fitting for the park? I personally think the word magic only fits with Fantasyland. Sure, all of the park is magical, but when I think of magic, I think of the castle and the other fantasy parks. Thanks, and have an MC Magical week. So, first question, no. I have actually never been on a ride that's been, like, shut down to that degree. I think for the most part it's been stopped for, you know, letting people with disabilities on or letting them off, or the ride's not functioning too well, but never to the point where, like, I had to evacuate the ride. Although, I mean, as long as everything's safe, that'd be kind of a cool experience, you know, as though nobody gets hurt, just to see the ride in a different perspective. For your second question, I think it is a fitting name. I think you touch upon it there. You know, it doesn't, not every land involves magic, but I think that the term magic in Magic Kingdom refers less to the content itself and more of the impact of the content. Magic Kingdom especially is just an area where you can go from one side of this park to the other and feel like you're going to 5 or 6 completely different places because it is a totally immersive experience, and you don't see that a lot in the world elsewhere where, you know, it's this one cohesive place that is so different. And so I think in a way that is very magical, and I think, you know, it is a magic kingdom in that sense. So I think it's a pretty fitting name. I don't know, but it's funny because I never thought of it too deeply. So those are really great questions. Our next question comes from CC99 Plays Minecraft, who asks, why don't they make a movie based on a ride? Because some have so many rides with great stories, or like more movies based on rides. We have Pirates, of course, and we see a Haunted Mansion, but why not more, right? I say there could be a Jungle Cruise TV show, comedy or serious but live action, or bring back the old Buzz Lightyear TV show, or change Big Thunder before release to something like Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, I mean, you've touched upon a few. For instance, there was talk of a Jungle Cruise movie being scripted, and it was going to be a comedy, and it was going to be just like a comedy Jungle Cruise adventure. I don't know about Buzz Lightyear. I know that there was talks of a pilot for a Big Thunder Mountain story on ABC. I think really, though, the core of the question, why don't they do more, is oversaturation. You need to be careful with that. You know, Pirates of the Caribbean did a great job, but you'll notice they didn't jump on it and make a million different others, because you can't approach it with this idea that, well, if Pirates was great, doing 10 of those will be 10 times as great, because once you oversaturate, you know, it becomes an issue and people get bored with it, and then it just sort of falls flat. In the video game world, you see that with certain games like Call of Duty, or you see that most especially with like Guitar Hero, the way that just sort of fizzled out. And I think Disney's trying to be careful not to do that. You see Tomorrowland is in the works, and there's talk of Jon Favreau doing like a general Magic Kingdom movie. But I think they need to scatter it out, which, you know, just to throw in a comment there, makes it all the weirder that they're just being so heavy with the Marvel stuff. Not that they're making that many movies, but they're just announcing them all. Like, we know all the Marvel movies coming out in like the next couple of years, and that's kind of crazy, because in the film world, they didn't really do that a whole lot. And I'm afraid they're projecting the image of oversaturation, even if, you know, it is not too many movies over, you know, a 3-4 year period. Anyway, our last question for this episode comes from CRZ Disney Bros, who asks, if you could take away any refurb and retheme and redesign, what would you take away? I would go back to Journey into Imagination 1.0. That's a very popular choice. Personally, if I had to undo or roll back any refurb, I would have to go with Spaceship Earth. I think Dame Judi Dench does a great job with her voiceover. I think the, you know, addition of the scenes, like the Bill Gates, Steve Jobs scene in the garage, is cool. I think that little interactive bit at the end is kind of fun. But I think the script is really dumbed down. And that's really disappointing to me, because I grew up with the Jeremy Irons version, and I think it was a very eloquent and I think a very well put, you know, script for a ride teaching you about communication. And it's just a shame, because I feel like it's been re-scripted to sort of appeal more to a younger audience. And I think one thing Walt Disney did great was he didn't do that. He didn't try to sell to kids. He tried to treat them as he would an adult, and appeal to the childlike, wonder in adults. And I feel like the last script did that. This one doesn't. So I would go back to the old script. Anyway, I want to thank you all for the questions. I apologize for being a little short, but it's the holiday week. We'll be going back to the longer ones later on. I hope everyone had a fantastic week. Whatever you celebrate, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, nothing at all, Festivus, I hope you had a fantastic week. Whatever you're doing this week, I hope you make the most of it. If you have a question you'd like me to answer, please leave it in the comments below. I try to get to as many of them as possible. I love answering like the business side stuff, especially just because it's fun to think about. But I try and take all the questions. And I hope to see you all next time for the next episode of the Minecraft Disney Q&A. Bye, everybody.